and welcome back to another episode of Radio Relux. I am, of course, Kevin, here as always, and I am being joined by two other members of Last Minute Continue this particular week. They are, in no particular order, apart from being alphabetical. Shadow Fox.
Oh, hi.
You cut off there in the middle of your ahoy hoy, and I'm very upset.
Did I? Let's try it again.
Try again.
Yeah. Ahoy hoy.
There we go. We will not have censorship of Shadow Fox's ahoy hoy. It's an absolute vital necessity of the internet. But I'm sure the American Senate are trying to do some sort of internet law right at this moment in time to censor poor Shadow Fox's ahoy hoy.
We will not stand for it.
We will not stand for it. Everyone, in fact, we will not stand for it, but we should. We should stand in support of Shadow Fox's ahoy hoy, and and associated greetings.
Yar.
Such as the greeting there that you just heard from Earthart, who's the other person joining me today. Hello.
Yarg.
Yarg
Hey.
indeed, good sir.
Yarg indeed.
How have you both been doing?
Yeah, I can't complain. I'm still alive.
Hey, it's all going
You mean,
relatively well.
Damn. I knew this ghost radio wasn't working. I'm sorry. This live version of Phasmophobia isn't really good.
Problem is, the ghosts keep getting scared away. Don't know why.
It's Shadow Fox's ahoy hoy on full display. That's the problem. I know, yeah.
It's a war cry to them.
We'd like to apologise to Radio Sega and Terra Player listeners who might have been frightened by the vociferousness of Shadow Fox's ahoy hoy. Also, I'm really confused because there's an article on my screen in a minute because of one of the things I want to talk to you guys about today. I want to get your thoughts on something, but instead, because there is a pop-up about, I'm assuming, cookies at the top of this screen, it's cut off.
I am all for cookies. I love them.
It's cut off the advert. What I actually had was half of Alex Horne's head on my screen, just putting with a really gormless expression, otherwise known as I have Alex Horne on my screen from Taskmaster. But it was just like half his face with like somebody clearly in VR like waggling their fingers at his mouth. But that was all I could see of the underlying advert. It was just the looming face of Alex Horne out of the thing. But I wanted to talk to you today, actually, guys, about crossovers and licensed characters.
Oh, I can see why.
And you can see why, because by the time I'm listening to this happened a couple of weeks ago now, but for us, obviously, this is relatively fresh. And there's a couple of things that are worthwhile talking about. And
one this year, one next year.
Exactly. And as such, we will talk about the one from that's happening this year. In fact, relatively soon, I think, first, which
in August,
is it August? I hope it's the one that I'm about to talk about, and not something else.
Well, we're about to find out.
Well, actually, I'll leave Earthart to tell me what it is I'm going to talk about, and we'll find out.
Is it a Konami company crossover?
No.
Oh, that's not the one.
But we can chuck that.
That'll be relevant. It'll be relevant to the second one, I imagine.
Yes, we can talk about that. Maybe even in the next show, I guess.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Let's start at the beginning. We'll figure out what's going on from there.
We'll start at the beginning, and at the beginning is what is the first thing? Number 1, Mortal Kombat 1. Because much like the previous Mortal Kombat game, where we got a massive DLC story thing with Aftermath, which was sort of interwoven and was also at the beginning and end of the game simultaneously, because Mortal Kombat and time shenanigans, we are getting the same with Mortal Kombat 1 with a story mode called Chaos Reigns, which presumably obviously involves the Chaos Realm, and also, of course, Chaos is spelt with a K, because
It's Mortal Kombat.
Combat.
It's combat. The letter C
I
does not exist
swear,
in the world.
I swear, if I want to go to NetherRealm Studios sometime and just find out, like, if they actually have a C on their keyboard.
Yeah, if every keyboard they've bought has the C key ripped
The
off
C key
and like glued.
You know what?
No, you can't
you
use
know
it.
what you have to do now is you have to look through every single character that's been in Mortal Kombat and figure out if any of them have had a C in their name.
Well, I can tell you immediately,
Scorpion.
Peacemaker. Yes.
Yeah, Peacemaker, Scorpion.
Which
Yeah,
feels
but
like,
Scorpion's
oh
not
my
with head.
god!
I feel like
hang on,
Alex
Alex Horne's back again. Somebody's
Oh, yeah.
somebody's trying to stick their finger in his mouth. Please stop. Please, this is Eurogamer. Why are you
Oh, that
random
sounds right,
person who's recorded this? Why are you trying to tickle Alex Horne's virtual chest hair? Please stop. Who is responsible for recording this, Eurogamer? They need disciplinary action.
If it was someone on Eurogamer, I know exactly who it is.
Excellent.
Ian Higton.
Ian.
He does all their VR stuff.
Okay, Ian. What the smeg is wrong with you, Ian? Stop it. Stop it. Look, if you like Alex Horne that much, I'm afraid he has a wife and children.
I mean, let's never stop Greg.
Oh, for God's sake. Anyway, so this... we've obviously got a story extension from Mortal Kombat 1. If you're not familiar with the Mortal Kombat 1 story, everything got completely reset. It's a whole new universe with the exception of Liu Kang, who became Fire God Liu Kang at the end of the previous one. Oh, spoiler.
Spoiler for fighting games.
Spoiler. Basically, he took on Raiden's powers and godhood, so he's like lightning and thunder, although despite the fact that he's just referred to as Fire
And
God.
Raiden still has thunder. So
Well, he's sort of got that, but then Raiden isn't the same Raiden anymore anyway, because he's immortal. Basically,
Yeah.
they've swapped places, effectively. And there's a whole heap of nonsense going on in terms of, you know,
I can't say I ever really kept up with any Mortal Kombat story.
I will say, in NetherRealm's defense, they've actually gotten. I think since they started working on the Injustice games, they've gotten a bit better at like weaving an actual narrative into their stuff. And
if you have a chance, by
think-
the way, the Injustice comics are amazing. Anyway, go on.
I feel like, you know, I feel like it's the thing when you make like, certainly if you've got a fighting game with a pedigree that's lasted since the 90s, a lot of them didn't really start with a story in mind and kind of got bolted on, and then eventually they kind of go, you know what, let's just do it properly.
They came up with a very good way of not only resetting everything, but effectively keep making it that nothing was lost either, because everything was reset, but it wasn't like the other stuff hadn't happened, because Liu Kang is of that timeline, and therefore Liu Kang knows, and then occasionally something will happen, and Liu Kang will sort of go, "Oh, that's not quite how that went last time," or
he'll remember the Joker.
yes, he remembers. He also remembers the DC stuff and everything else that happened. So MK versus DC did actually get a specific reference in that as well. So
DC has so many multiverses anyway. They've got like Earth up to whatever.
Yeah. But
everything that ever has happened in a DC universe somewhere.
Anyway, so they basically took the idea in this game of was like, oh, in this all, because at the end of this DLC for the previous game, you had the option to go one of two ways, very much actually like MK versus DC. You could go to like two different directions. One of which saw Liu Kang win, and one of which saw Shang Tsung win. And well, they sort of discuss at one point. It's like, okay, so we're the timeline where Liu Kang won, but you know, in alternate universe, Liu Kang didn't win. But why is it only those two choices? And that sort of opens the door to, oh crap.
Yeah.
And then everybody starts coming out of the woodwork, and everything starts resetting. We effectively get a soft reset on Mortal Kombat Annihilation as well. Everything starts happening at once, with immeasurable different variations of all the various characters, male versions, female versions, cyborg versions.
I was going to say
everything.
the two new cyborgs, both female, which is brand new, isn't it?
Yes, and that's the thing that's happening with Mortal Kombat 1, is that we hadn't yet been introduced to this universe's Cyrax and Sector, and in this universe, despite the fact that they finally got Cyrax and Sector right, it'd never been quite right, but they'd managed to really give them a good story off the back of the last couple of games. That's all been lost entirely, but Cyrax and Sector are indeed female now, which is obviously very different. Also, I don't think they're like fully cyborg. They've just got like robo armor,
suits,
armor, because their face plates sort of go away and they're clearly still human underneath. So it's a case of like to what lengths they're roboticized. Although people didn't seem too happy about that in the trailer, certain individuals, because that was one of the big switches was that Sub-Zero in this universe is still the original Sub-Zero, and his brother, I can't remember their various names now, but his brother, who was the second Sub-Zero, the one with the beard and the scar, from as you may recall from the other one, he's actually this universe's Scorpion, and they were all part of the Shiru Ryu doesn't exist; it's just Lin Kuei. So Scorpion is part of the Lin Kuei along with Smoke. So
there was no split.
There was no split, but it's the brothers, and still. Kuai Lang, I think, is the younger brother. I can't remember the name of this.
Unfortunately, this is way out of my knowledge.
Anyway, the point was that the original Sub-Zero, a.k.a. the older brother, is still an asshole even in this universe. And something is going to happen because Noob Saibot turns up in this one.
Yep.
And of course, it's the dead original Sub-Zero who becomes Noob Saibot. So what's happening with that? Everyone hates Noob Saibot, incidentally, his design. People have been really happy recently with various designs, except Noob Saibot in this version, and they absolutely hate it for reasons I can't quite understand. But there you go. But alongside Noob Saibot, Cyrax, and Sector as part of Combat Pack 1 of this DLC, was it Combat Pack 2? One of the two. We have some guest characters, and those are Ghostface.
Yep.
Okay.
Conan the Barbarian, so we get another Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, yeah.
And the last one was the T-1000.
Yes.
Fully licensed Terminator 2 T-1000.
Yep. The policeman-looking one.
Indeed.
And that's to go on top of their already existing guest characters of Homelander,
Omni-Man,
and
Peacemaker.
Omni-Man and Peaceman. Yeah.
Peaceman. Peaceman, Omni-Man.
Peaceman. John Cena.
Home Man. Iceman's there. Various other things.
Omni-Maker.
Yes.
Army Lady is there too.
Yep.
Movie Guy. He's all about. But yeah, it's fully licensed for Robert Patrick for the T-1000. Of course, Arnold is presumably fully licensed for Conan.
Yeah, although I imagine they'll get a voice double to do it again because it wasn't Arnie doing it in the previous one.
He wasn't doing the T-100.
But it does. Just going by the splash art, visually, pretty much dead on.
Oh yeah, the look wise they got
yeah.
The Terminator they used was the one for the recent Terminator, wasn't it?
It was more in line with
the grade.
It was old. It was old Terminator from whichever that film was that I liked and nobody else did. What was it called?
I haven't watched them, so I couldn't tell you. Ghostface is an interesting one. To be fair, they've got precedence for it because Leatherface and Jason have been in it before.
Yeah, but Jason's a mystical being himself, though. To be fair.
Yeah, that helps. But I
Yeah.
mean, Alien and Predator have been in one of them as well.
Absolutely,
Yep.
and there is obviously with Freddy and Leatherface and Ghostface. I guess Freddy's burnt face. If we continue that.
Yeah.
If we continue that. We are
That
old
skin mask.
burnt face. Of course, they have appeared in Dead by Daylight, which is the other thing we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm curious because we've had, as you said, we've had Alien, we've had Terminator, Robocop was in there because we had Robocop versus Terminator in the previous game, which was fun. And they had loads of fun doing, referencing that. And I think at one point in there, like their introductory, one of their introductory dialogues is him saying, like, I have files of us meeting before.
Yes.
And then there'd be something like that.
There's some really good interaction. That's the thing that they're very good at, is those interactive, like, beginning beginnings.
Those are super duper fun.
Yeah.
It's actually, you know, it's more fun when it's actually the friendly ones. So it's like out of the way. I mean, I'm not counting obviously any Johnny Cage one because any Johnny Cage one is amazing. But it's like the ones where it's like the friendly ones. It's like, oh, what are we gonna do after this? I don't know. I'm gonna get a beer or something. I guess so. Unless the universe ends.
Yeah.
And it's also the same when it's like the I don't know what they call it, like the showdown, not the test of strength, but when it's
the clashes.
The clashes,
yeah.
The clash dialogue as well is pretty awesome. Oh, because we also had Turtles, obviously as well. Wasn't a couple of games back.
That was Injustice 2, though.
That was Injustice 2, but
yeah,
it's the same sort of.
Yeah, it's essentially the same.
Same sort of thing. So, with this in mind, and the fact that we've got other things going on now in the wider realm, particularly with obviously the fighting games, we've got a certain, you know, Final Fight character making his way over to Street Fighter 6.
You got 2 of them, including the one that Nintendo wouldn't let on their system.
Yes, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of Harada was asking about guest characters for Tekken 8, and there was quite a universal call for a particular Square Enix character to be in Tekken, if you remember that one.
I remember there being a lot of discussion about a certain Sega character being in Tekken.
Which one was that? Was that...
Kiryu.
Sorry?
Kiryu.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like, doesn't Kiryu's creator not want him to be in a fighting game?
He doesn't want Kiryu to be in a fighting game, which is a pity because he would fit so perfectly into Tekken.
He's a brawler. It's like he brawls. That's what he does.
But then I wonder if you could fit Majima in there instead.
Majima getting drunk and just waking up.
Yeah.
In
real.
Would be absolutely perfect.
The recent one that people were asking Harada for, and admittedly I think it's because of the game that came out at the time, was to have Tifa in Tekken. Which would make sense.
Yeah.
And there's precedent, because...
There is indeed precedent.
Because Noctis from Final Fantasy 15 was in Tekken 7.
Oh god, was that a reveal?
Yeah.
Was that a reveal? And of course all the mechanics were there as well. And the fact that they had effectively... I think they'd suggested in the story before that there was some sort of connection. But it was more like a joke, and then we had at the end the 2 of them just going fishing together or something. That was in the trailer. It was confirmed that, oh my god, that was actually not a joke.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Fishing was one of the bigger mini games in 15. So, but yeah, so there's been a lot of calls for Tifa to be in, but obviously the latest character they revealed is the character they said, no, this character's dead. Yeah, right.
No one ever dies.
No one dies.
Well, there's a little bit of
how many people with a certain surname have been chucked down a volcano over the course of this series? And how many of them have died? 0.
So the reason there was a slight precedence for this one is because the original voice actor who'd voiced him up until Tekken 7 did pass away. Now I suspect.
Are we sure about that?
He was chucked off a volcano. We assume he died.
We hate to really dwell on this one, guys, but are we in fact sure? Was he thrown into a volcano?
But I guess, if there is a dream character I'd want to see in a fighting game, other than maybe one I would create, that's a tough choice.
I'd like to expand this out, because obviously, as you say, you've got Terry and Mai in Street Fighter 6, and my god, Terry's an absolute amazing fit for that.
Oh god,
because if there's any other fighter going around, that it would be Terry that everyone knows about, and I most definitely want to see in Street Fighter canon Terry versus Ken.
It will happen.
That has to happen.
And you're going to have Mai versus Chun-Li probably as well.
One would assume so. The legs versus the boobs. This is it has to happen. But so licensing though, what else do you think is out there that could fit into specifically these fighter games, as you mentioned, Tekken, and we've got Street Fighter, we've got Mortal Kombat. There's a lot of stuff going on.
I mean,
in terms of film.
If you go back, like I could tell you, like the weirdest one that always stood out for me was it was the Star Wars characters in Soul Calibur 4.
Yes.
Yeah, you had Darth Vader, Yoda, and
Apprentice.
Starkiller.
It wasn't Starkiller.
Even if
it wasn't Starkiller. It was just the Apprentice.
Because if you go back to like Soul Calibur 2, you had special characters for each console version.
Yeah,
you had Link for Nintendo, Spawn, and
somebody who fell down the volcano.
Yeah.
But at no point did any of those characters necessarily feel out of place for the realm they existed in.
It made every one of those was perfectly fine in the Soul universe.
And again, if you look at like the Mortal Kombat, they play with portals all the time, and it's a series that doesn't take itself too seriously, and therefore it gets away.
Yeah,
it's also canonically established. It's canonically established. That there are various realms, and those have various portals to other various realities. So they set it up really well, actually.
Mm.
In terms of opening all the doors, so that they're not restricted in any way.
Yeah, that was one of the things with like Injustice 2 is they kind of kept the door open for Injustice 3 that would be somewhere along the lines of an Infinite Crisis.
Yeah, but that's part of the storyline from original Injustice anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It was
a build-up to a crisis.
Yeah, Batman reaches out to the Prime universe for help, effectively. And when we have in 2, in terms of storyline, there's, Green Arrow. That's not the Green Arrow from that universe. That's a completely different one, because in the Injustice universe, Superman has killed Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Yes,
very violently as well. Very violently.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of because there's the obvious ones, which obviously Mortal Kombat can use most of the DC universe because of joint ownership, and I'm genuinely surprised we've not seen something like the Batman Who Laughs in Mortal Kombat, because that feels like that would fit.
Batman Who Laughs is a skin in Multiverses.
Yes, I do know that one.
Which immediately dilutes the Batman Who Laughs entirely. Batman Who Laughs versus Velma is not something I wanted to see.
Are we going to start seeing Mortal Kombat characters in multiverses at some point?
I don't see what
possible.
I'm still absolutely baffled we didn't get a Mortal Kombat character in the most recent Smash. You're not telling me we couldn't have had one?
I think Nintendo would have been I think it's a Nintendo issue more than anything.
Nintendo like their family-friendly Smashers.
Again, let's point out, Mai got banned from the stage because she was too sexual.
But it's like, because it's the confusing thing about multiverses when we talk about that, is it's like, it's any universe. Okay, so you got what, Game of Thrones and Jason Voorhees versus Jake the Dog.
Any universe owned by Warner Brothers, which is...
And Warner Brothers own NetherRealm, so...
But it's like you got characters that appear almost in exclusively like 18 rated movies fighting with characters that are in PG.
You mentioned it. Now that everything's been sorted out in terms of the rights that situation that got clogged up for many years, we of course do have Jason Voorhees in Multiverses.
Yeah,
I've just had
Will we get Jason Voorhees in Mortal Kombat at some point?
I thought he already was.
He was.
Was he?
At one point.
I feel like
when?
he was. Or it was Jason X. It might be Jason X that was in one.
Jason Voorhees Mortal Kombat. Was he Mortal Kombat 11? No. When did that happen?
I don't know. I might be wrong. It just feels like he's obviously been in one. But maybe I'm wrong.
I thought he couldn't be in one because of
Mortal Kombat X he was in.
Was he in Mortal Kombat X? Well, there we go then. So Jason Voorhees...
Which would explain why it was Jason X. But yeah. Flash of the pan idea, though, because there is one character in Multiverses that could work in Mortal Kombat. Agent Smith. That could be an
It
interesting
would be
one.
interesting.
And it would fit the slightly more modernized world they have for the new, for Mortal Kombat 1. Certainly you'd fit in with Johnny Cage, dress sense wise.
Yeah.
But I thought the idea like that multiverse is sort of a virtual environment, and I'm not sure how you'd have a specifically virtual character in Mortal Kombat.
I think they'd figure a way out.
I mean, if they've got Terminators, they just have them take over a Terminator.
There's definitely...
If it's actual Agent Smith and he can effectively body hop, that would be an interesting...
Yeah. So interestingly, I've shown you this channel before, Kev, with where like the channel where they go through a lot of fighting game things and stuff. And there was a really good one where he was looking at Darkstalkers, where they have a couple of interesting characters. They have one which is literally like a puppet master, where you start as a random character, but each time you win, the next round you play as the character you just beat up. And it's just like a rotating version of that. And then there was another one that was literally like a shadow monster. So again, it just pulls up a shadow of a random character and you play as that random character for that round.
You know, that is something that I've seen less and less of in fighting games. Because, again, Soul Calibur had a charade. Each round, it took on a different fighting style randomly from the entire roster. Now you can random for a match, but you're still that character. You don't have like a randomized fighting style for each time you fight, which would be very interesting in sort of tournament modes, because people often sometimes will pick better matchups, but you get
I think it's because a lot of fighting games these days are focused on the tournament angle, so everything has to be, clean and fair and balanced.
Which is why you just ban them from tournaments. Problem solved.
Yeah, exactly. If you can ban Meta Knight, you can ban everyone. But I'm genuinely struggling to think of anyone that would fit into a big fighting game like that.
Since we're sort of concentrating a little bit on Mortal Kombat, let me just quickly go through the list of the guest characters that we've had over the last, from like 2011's Mortal Kombat onwards, let's say.
Yeah.
So we have the rather more humanoid alien from Mortal Kombat X. Robocop was in Mortal Kombat 11. Jason Voorhees was indeed in Mortal Kombat X2. Peacemaker is in the most recent. Spawn's in Mortal Kombat 11. Homelander is in Mortal Kombat 1, 2. Joker's in Mortal Kombat 11. Omni-Man in Mortal Kombat 1. Terminator is in Mortal Kombat 11. The Predator is in Mortal Kombat 10. As was a skin for Jax, which basically transformed him into Carl Weathers from Predator.
Yeah.
But so it's like an unofficial one.
Did he get like different voice lines as well, or was he just a skin?
No, but it was.
I think so.
Effectively a reference.
NetherRealm's very good at that. Of a skin will also have a relevant voice over. Yeah. They definitely did that for Green Lanterns.
Yeah, Freddy was 2011. Leatherface Mortal Kombat X. Kratos was 2011 as well.
Yes,
Mortal Kombat.
Kratos has been in that and Soul Calibur,
and also, I'm pretty certain he was in Mortal Kombat Mobile as well. I
think he was.
John Rambo as well, Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh yeah.
And that's your lot. Now, I would like to present to you my idea of characters that could be in that, because as established, we have now had multiple Arnolds.
Yeah.
So, what if we had multiple Stallones? I would present to you, in fact, actually, multiple Stallones. Let's get in this game Officer John Spartan from Demolition Man.
Demolition Man. Okay, I'm with that.
Simon Phoenix.
Yes. Phoenix.
Interestingly, I have seen, and this isn't me trying to toot my own horn on this one, I have seen quite a lot of people suggest Dredd would be quite a good fit for Mortal Kombat as well.
Judge Dredd would be an interesting one. We've had gun-based characters.
I mean, Striker.
Striker, whatever his name was, the weird.
Oh, the Outlaw.
The weird gunslinger guy would be a good
Oh.
one. But of course, Robocop was that too. Obviously, he was
Yeah, that's true.
strong,
say,
strong hits and gunplay.
Yeah. So with the still pack, you could also have Rocky, obviously.
I'm not sure.
Straight up.
I'm not sure why I'm not sure you would have Rocky though.
No, I feel like Rocky would
Maybe
be
not.
better because actually the other game, fighting game series I'm thinking of is the King of Fighters series.
So, you know,
Because
yeah,
that has a lot of crossover stuff.
put Stallone in Tekken instead.
Yeah,
Rocky in Tekken.
put Rocky and Tekken on my work.
Since we've now set this present for multiple characters by the same actor, if we're getting Wesley Snipes, Wesley Snipes Blade.
Like,
Yeah,
obviously,
no, I
that's
think-
the common one.
Well, that would work as well though because they're isn't Blade DC?
Blade
Or is
is
Blade Marvel?
Blade is Marvel, but
Oh,
that's Marvel. That character, obviously, they're working on the new Blade film, which is in development hell, it seems.
Yeah.
But that's the Blade trilogy was actually by New Line Cinema, so it's not Sony.
No, yeah.
So it would come under slightly different licensing for that.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons that things got a bit interesting. Spoilers, massive spoilers, by the way. If you've not are familiar with the most recent Deadpool movie, close your ears. But Wesley Snipes' Blade is in that as a cameo. He's like a much older Blade, and of course he's not really. It's still him. So it's still. He even got to reprise his some MFers always will try ice skating uphill line he did from the original Blade.
But Blade is Marvel, but
Blade is Marvel,
he didn't appear in Marvel vs. Capcom, which is obviously a perfectly acceptable place for him to be.
Yeah, again, it might be one of those things, but because that version of Blade is specifically New Line Cinema, it might be quite doable. Likewise, I'm not sure if was Demolition Man a Fox film. I don't know, but that would be my suggestion. My like sort of free suggestions anyway would be Blade, because we have vampire characters in Mortal Kombat, so that would make sense. Was it Serena?
Demolition Man was
Serena?
distributed by Warner Brothers.
Oh, there we go. We've got that Simon Phoenix, John Spartan, and you know full well what one of the fatalities would be if you've ever seen. Seen
sadly I haven't. So
Demolition
that'd be a
Man,
surprise.
there would definitely be the opportunity for John Spartan to go to Sub-Zero. Is it Colton here, or is it just me?
Oh,
It's just too perfect an opportunity.
Welcome to the San Angeles Museum of History.
But other than that, have you guys got any other suggestions for like films, TV?
I can't really see.
I need to watch film or TV.
I need to play more fighting games. I feel like nothing is ever off the table with these things anymore, though.
No.
I feel like anything is quite happy to cross over with anything. Sometimes so much so that if you've managed to appear in said game, it's almost like the small print at the bottom of the text, and your character will be in Fortnite.
It does. The question is, whilst the door is open, it still has to fit.
Yeah, because there was one that surprised me at Evo, which was Guilty Gear is getting a character from Cyberpunk as a guest character, and it's like,
is
Lucy,
it Keanu?
No.
Then no one will care. Is it Keanu? Have you given us the opportunity to have more Keanu Reeves in our lives?
Because it's one of the case. Lucy from the anime series.
See, this is the thing. I don't know enough about either Cyberpunk or Guilty Gear, to be quite frank. I know a few characters from Guilty Gear just through general osmosis.
Yeah.
But the other big one I know is like King of Fighter tends to be just a mashup of all of SNK's fighters across all of their.
Well, there's so many different fighter franchises that they've basically all just.
Well, they all merged.
They all merged to King of Fighters.
They all borrow.
They're
can
both Street
choose.
Fighters, but the other ones still exist, but by way of all the mechanics sort of get dragged out every now and again, don't they?
Yeah.
Although
they did announce that they're reviving one of them, but I can't remember the name of it.
I can't either, so they're not doing a very good job.
Final Fight? Maybe?
Was there a new Final Fight? I don't know. There's so much nonsense going on in Final Fight specifically.
I was going to say, you're talking about mechanics, just reminded me that how you can play in Smash Brothers if you happen to be the last character when you're playing as Ryu. It takes on like fully Street Fighter commands where like you look at you're always looking at each other, and or he always looks at his opponent, but he still does all the inputs, like even when he's regular fighting, like Z's, quarter circles and stuff for moves.
Yeah,
which I think is...
for him and Kazuya, they work for both.
Is very. I love that. That's above and beyond.
With that same thing, we're talking. You mentioned crossovers. I'm still sad we didn't get Tekken cross Street Fighter, where we got Street Fighter cross Tekken, but the whole point was we then had the one in reverse, and we just couldn't get it to work. The eventual admission was when we tried, it didn't work.
That is a shame, I think, because
it's nice. Street Fighter cross Tekken's a nice game, but has been completely forgotten, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I'm trying to think of some more licenses, like film or what have you.
I got nothing.
I'm assuming that at some point the other game franchise. Actually, we'll leave that for the next discussion. Because there's a lot that needs to be said about Dead by Daylight, but that will be next week's show. For now, though, we're heading back over to more Pokemon, I think.
If you still have some left.
How many parts was there?
3.
Maybe.
We'll see you after the break. I think we're out of Pokemon at that point.
Yeah, you're out of Pokemon at that point, so I'm going to have to start getting something together.
Right, okay, it doesn't matter about that. We'll start a recording at some point.